Part 1, the beginning of the journey, in the quiet hills of Kyoto. As the morning mist lingers over the moss-covered stones and the scent of pine drifts gently through the air, there lives a woman named Aiko. She is 72 years old. Yet when people see her walking through the narrow streets on her way to the market, they whisper with admiration. Her back is straight, her movements graceful, and her face glows with a radiance that seems untouched by time. Her skin, though marked by the natural lines of experience, carries a softness, a gentle sheen, a vitality that makes her look far younger than her years. Travelers who visit the town often pause, curious about her secret. Some think it must be a hidden cream, a rare herb, or perhaps a miracle of good fortune. But those who take the time to sit with her, to share tea and listen, discover something far deeper. Aiko embodies centuries of wisdom, the quiet secrets of Japanese culture that allow beauty to last long after youth has passed. She believes, as many elders do in Japan, that beauty is not about resisting age, but about living in harmony with it. The skin, she often says, is a reflection of how we treat our body, our mind, and even our spirit. If you live gently, your skin will follow. Her story begins each morning before the sun rises. Aiko wakes to the sound of cicadas in summer or to the soft crackling of the old wooden house in winter. She lights a small candle, bows before the family altar where photos of her parents and grandparents rest, and begins her day with gratitude. She whispers thanks for another dawn, for the chance to walk, to breathe, to smile. Gratitude, she insists, is the very first secret, not because it erases wrinkles, but because it softens the heart, and a soft heart radiates through the face. After her small prayer, she prepares her tea. This is not a rushed affair, not a quick sip before running out the door. It is a ritual, a ceremony even in its simplest form. She opens a small tin of powdered matcha, the same brand her mother once favored, and sifts it carefully into a bowl. She adds hot water, never boiling, and whisks it until the surface is covered with a fine jade-green foam. She sits by the window, where the early light filters through shoji screens, and drinks slowly. This, she explains, is the first great secret to ageless skin, the power of green tea. For centuries, Japanese women have relied on the antioxidants found in tea to cleanse their bodies from within. Matcha, with its high concentration of catechins, fights the invisible enemies that cause the skin to age, the free radicals born from stress, pollution, and time itself. But beyond science, the act of drinking tea brings peace. The calm that spreads through her body as she sips is as important as the nutrients in the cup. Stress is a thief of beauty, and in her morning ritual she denies it entry. Aiko remembers being a little girl, watching her grandmother perform the same ritual. The older woman's hands, wrinkled and spotted, would move with precision and grace as she whisked the tea. Even then, her skin carried a glow, and she often reminded Aiko, "Beauty is not about being without lines. It is about carrying your lines with dignity, as a river carries its ripples." When she finishes her tea, Aiko steps outside into her small garden. She bends to touch the earth, pulling a weed here, trimming a leaf there. The sun has only just begun to rise, and the air is still cool. This quiet contact with nature is not only for her plants, but for her own spirit. The garden reminds her that everything grows, everything changes, and everything carries beauty at every stage. By the time she returns inside, it is time for her morning meal. This is where the second secret of ageless beauty lies, the traditional Japanese diet. Aiko's breakfast is simple yet nourishing. A bowl of miso soup, steaming and fragrant with fermented soybeans. A small plate of grilled fish, lightly salted. Rice, fluffy and warm, alongside pickled vegetables that awaken the palate with their tang. Sometimes she adds a slice of nori, rich with minerals from the sea. This is the food she has eaten since childhood, and though modern supermarkets tempt with processed choices, she rarely strays. The wisdom here is subtle but powerful. In Japanese culture, meals are not designed for indulgence but for balance. Salt, sour, bitter, sweet, and umami. Each taste plays a role, and none overwhelms the others. Aiko eats slowly, never in excess, and she always finishes with a small cup of hot tea. She believes that food is not just fuel, it is medicine. Every bite of seaweed carries iodine and magnesium. Every spoon of miso offers probiotics that heal the gut. Every morsel of fish provides oils that keep the skin supple. Western doctors often marvel at the longevity and health of the Japanese, especially women who live well into their 90s with strong bodies and radiant skin. But to Aiko, it is no mystery. It is simply the way her ancestors lived. If you feed your body with respect, she says, your skin will thank you, even after 60, 70, 80 years. As the morning passes, Aiko prepares for one of her favorite rituals, bathing. The Japanese bath is not only for cleanliness, it is for renewal, both of skin and soul. This is the third secret she shares, though she will reveal its depth later. For now, she fills her wooden tub with steaming water, dropping in a small cloth bag filled with dried yuzu peel. The citrus oils release into the water, filling the room with a fragrance that is both uplifting and soothing. She lowers herself into the bath, sighing as the heat embraces her joints and muscles. She remembers the onsens of her youth, natural hot springs scattered across the mountains of Japan. As a young woman, she would visit with her friends, laughing as they soaked in the mineral-rich waters, their skin softening with every moment. Even now, she believes that these baths do more than relax the body. They cleanse the spirit of heaviness, the kind of heaviness that etches itself into the lines of the face if left untended. Western women spend fortunes on creams, she once told her niece. But we Japanese know that water is the greatest healer. When the body is immersed, the skin remembers how to breathe. In the warm bath, her pores open, her skin softens, and the natural oils she uses afterward, camellia, pressed from delicate flowers, penetrate deeply. She never uses harsh soaps, never scrubs too hard. The Japanese philosophy of skin care is one of gentleness, of nourishing, rather than stripping away. When Aiko dresses in her simple cotton kimono and ties her gray hair in a loose bun, she is ready for the day. She walks through town carrying a woven basket for her groceries. As she passes younger women, some with faces tight from modern treatments and others weary from hurried lives, they glance at her with curiosity. They wonder how she glows, how her steps remain steady, how her skin reflects the light with such calm. But Aiko does not think of herself as extraordinary. She sees herself as a student of life, simply following the wisdom passed down to her. For her, aging is not something to fight. It is a path to be walked with grace, each year adding depth rather than stealing beauty. And as she moves through her day, buying vegetables, pausing to greet neighbors, bowing respectfully to the shrine at the edge of town, her secrets unfold naturally. They are not hidden potions or costly routines. They are moments of living, woven seamlessly into the fabric of ordinary days. By evening, when the lanterns glow softly in the streets and the crickets sing, she returns home. She prepares another light meal, reads from her old books, and sits quietly, reflecting on the day. Before she sleeps, she looks into the mirror. The face that gazes back is lined, yes, but radiant. It is the face of a woman who has lived fully, who has laughed, who has wept, who has loved, and it is the face of a woman who carries 6 secrets, not just for beauty, but for life itself. Part 2. The Rituals of Renewal. As night gives way to another morning, the rhythm of Aiko's life continues like the steady beat of a drum. Each day feels similar, yet never the same. Because she finds beauty in small differences, the way the light falls through her paper windows, the new buds on her garden plants, the shifting clouds that drift over the mountains. Today, after her quiet breakfast, she lingers longer at her bath. For Aiko, bathing is not simply a matter of hygiene. It is a doorway to renewal. The Japanese have long believed that water carries a sacred energy, cleansing not only the body but the spirit. When Aiko lowers herself into steaming water, she imagines the worries and heaviness of yesterday dissolving and flowing away. This is the third secret she holds close: the power of bathing, of onsen, of immersion in heat and minerals. She remembers visiting Beppu, the famous hot spring town, decades ago with her husband. They had walked together through the rising steam, dipping into baths that smelled faintly of sulfur, others rich with iron that stained the rocks orange-red. Her husband, who passed years ago, had laughed as the steam fogged his glasses. They soaked until their skin flushed pink, then walked out renewed, as if their very bones had been cleansed. At home now, Aiko cannot travel as easily, but she recreates the feeling in her own tub. She sometimes adds green tea leaves to the water, letting their antioxidants seep into her pores. Other days, she drops slices of ginger, which warm her skin from within. She always ends her bath by rinsing with cooler water, closing the pores, and sealing in the softness. When she steps out, she treats her skin with reverence. She does not rush, nor does she use dozens of products. She takes a small bottle of camellia oil, known in Japan as tsubaki oil, and warms a few drops between her palms. Gently, she presses it into her damp skin, not rubbing harshly but patting, as if reminding her face that it is loved. This simplicity is part of her secret. The skin, she says, is like a child. If you are harsh with it, it resists. If you are gentle, it responds with softness. This philosophy leads into the fourth secret she shares: movement and posture. Aiko does not exercise in the Western sense. You will not find her running marathons, lifting heavy weights, or forcing her body into exhaustion. Instead, she practices what her culture has always valued: natural, consistent movement. Each morning, after her bath, she stretches slowly, her arms lifting toward the ceiling, her breath flowing in rhythm. She bends to touch her toes, rolls her shoulders, and lets her joints loosen. Her favorite form of movement, however, is walking. She walks everywhere, to the market, to the shrine, through her garden. Each step is deliberate, her back straight, her chin slightly lifted. Posture, she believes, is as important to beauty as any cream. A stooped posture, she says, makes the spirit heavy, and the heaviness shows on the face. But when she walks with grace, the energy flows freely through her body, and her skin glows as if illuminated from within. She learned this from watching the geisha in Kyoto when she was younger. These women, trained in the art of elegance, carried themselves with a poise that seemed to defy age. Even in their 50s or 60s, their straight backs and graceful steps gave them a timeless aura. Beauty was not painted only on their faces. It was woven into the way they moved. Aiko also tends her small garden, pulling weeds and planting herbs. This too is movement, though she does not think of it as exercise. The bending, stretching, lifting, all keep her body supple, her muscles engaged. It is this quiet, consistent activity that sustains her vitality far more than bursts of effort ever could. "Move like the river," she often says to her granddaughter. Not crashing, not forcing, but flowing every day. After her walk and garden tending, Aiko returns to her mirror. Her skincare routine is short, almost deceptively so. Many modern women, she knows, are drawn into the trap of endless products: serums, creams, masks, toners, each promising to erase years. But in her world, less is more. This is the fifth secret of ageless beauty in Japan: a minimalist approach to skincare. She uses only 3 steps: cleansing with rice water, nourishing with camellia oil, and protecting with a simple moisturizer made from natural ingredients. The rice water is her mother's recipe. After cooking rice, she saves the starchy water, letting it cool. This cloudy liquid, rich with vitamins and minerals, has been used by Japanese women for centuries. She dips a soft cloth into it and presses it onto her face, letting it cleanse gently without stripping away oils. Then comes the camellia oil, pressed into her skin with care. Finally, a layer of light cream seals in the moisture. That is all. It may seem too simple to those accustomed to complicated routines, but Aiko believes that the skin thrives on consistency and kindness, not confusion. Her face does not carry the tightness of over-treated skin, nor the dryness of chemical overload. Instead, it breathes freely, radiant in its simplicity. She recalls her grandmother telling her stories of the women who worked in rice fields long ago. Their hands, though rough from labor, were softened by the constant touch of rice water. Their skin remained smooth even as they aged. From them came the wisdom that the most effective beauty often lies in the simplest practices. In the evening, after her light meal of vegetables and fish, Aiko sits quietly in her tatami room. She lights a stick of incense, its sandalwood fragrance drifting through the space, and reflects on her day. This is where she touches on the sixth and final secret. Though to her, it is not the end, but the beginning of everything. Ikigai. Ikigai is a word that does not have a perfect translation in English. It means reason for being, the quiet joy of living with purpose. For Aiko, ikigai is found in her garden, in her tea, in the laughter of her granddaughter, in the memories of her husband. It is the invisible thread that gives her life meaning. She believes that no cream, no diet, no ritual can truly make the skin glow if the heart is heavy and lost. Purpose lightens the soul, and a light soul softens the face. This, she insists, is why she looks as she does at 72. Not because she has escaped age, but because she has embraced it with meaning. As she reflects, she remembers a friend from her youth who spent her life chasing the appearance of beauty. Expensive treatments, endless diets, constant worry about every wrinkle. That friend, though younger in years, carried an expression of weariness, a tightness that no product could erase. Aiko often wished she could tell her that beauty is not in the absence of wrinkles, but in the presence of peace. She closes her eyes, listening to the quiet hum of the night. Somewhere beyond the hills, temple bells ring softly, marking the passing of hours. She smiles, knowing that tomorrow she will wake again to the rituals that carry her through. For her, beauty is not a destination, but a path. A river that flows gently, carrying her from youth to old age with grace. And along the banks of this river lie her 6 secrets: tea, food, water, movement, simplicity, and purpose, waiting for anyone who chooses to follow. Part 3. The Threads of Tradition. When autumn drapes its golden cloak across the hills of Kyoto, Aiko feels her spirit rise with the crisp air. The cicadas of summer are gone, replaced by the gentle rustle of falling leaves. The evenings are cooler now, and the smell of roasted chestnuts drifts through the neighborhood. For Aiko, each season is a teacher, and she believes that true beauty comes from aligning with these natural rhythms rather than fighting against them. One morning, as she walks to the market, she pauses to watch a group of children chasing each other beneath the fiery red maples. Their laughter rings like bells, echoing down the stone streets. She smiles, remembering her own childhood when life was simpler, when beauty was never measured by mirrors but by the glow of joy on a face. She wonders if the world has forgotten this wisdom, that beauty begins not in the skin, but in the spirit. As she continues on her way, she meets her friend Haruko, a woman of 75 who still teaches ikebana, the Japanese art of flower arrangement. Haruko's hands are knotted with age, yet when she arranges blossoms, they move with elegance, placing each stem with reverence. Aiko often visits Haruko's small studio, where students gather to learn not only about flowers but about harmony and balance. "Look at this chrysanthemum," Haruko once told her, holding up a bloom of brilliant yellow. "Its petals are not perfect. Some curl, some bend, yet together they form a beauty greater than perfection. We must see ourselves the same way." Aiko treasures these words. They echo the belief that beauty after 60, after 70, is not about looking young but about radiating harmony. It is about the way lines on the face can resemble the veins of a leaf, telling the story of a life lived in full seasons. In the afternoons, Aiko often visits the local onsen when her joints ache. The steam rises in soft clouds, wrapping the bathers in warmth. Here she meets other women her age, each carrying their own stories. They talk quietly, not about creams or surgeries, but about grandchildren, gardens, the taste of persimmons. In these conversations, Aiko feels the truth of her 6th secret, that purpose, connection, and joy are the ultimate skincare. She remembers one particular woman, Masayo, who was 80 and still walked every day to the hot springs. Her skin was thin, like delicate rice paper, yet it glowed with vitality. When someone once asked Masayo how she kept her beauty, she laughed. "My secret?" she said. "I have never carried hatred in my heart. Bitterness makes the face old faster than years. These words stayed with Aiko. She believes that emotions carve themselves into the skin. A face often reflects decades of laughter or years of sorrow. To nurture peace inside is to nurture youth on the outside. At home, Aiko continues her quiet rituals. She prepares rice water for her cleansing, remembering the women in her family who passed down this wisdom. She saves vegetable scraps for broth, just as her grandmother did, because nothing is wasted in her household. Even her beauty rituals carry this philosophy of respect and balance. She wastes nothing, neither food nor energy, and in return, her body wastes no vitality. Sometimes her granddaughter, Emi, comes to visit. Emi is only 20, a student in Tokyo, and she often marvels at her grandmother's skin. "Obasan," she says, "why do you not have more wrinkles? My friends in the city spend fortunes on creams, but your face glows without them." Aiko laughs softly, brushing a strand of hair from Emi's forehead. "Because, child, beauty does not come from fighting age. It comes from welcoming it. I care for my skin as I care for a baby, gently, patiently, without anger. And I live each day with purpose. That is enough." She teaches Emi how to prepare matcha, guiding her hands as she whisks. She shows her how to press camellia oil into the skin, not rubbing but patting. She explains that every ritual must be done with mindfulness, not haste. "If you rush," she says, "you are not nourishing the skin, you are punishing it." Emi listens, absorbing the wisdom like sunlight. Though she is young, she begins to understand that these rituals are not about vanity, but about respect. Respect for the body, for time, for life itself. One evening, as the sun dips behind the hills, Aiko sits with her neighbors for a small festival. Paper lanterns sway in the breeze, glowing softly like fireflies. The community gathers to share food, songs, and laughter. Aiko eats grilled fish, sweet potatoes, and drinks warm sake. She feels the warmth of companionship, the joy of being part of something larger. This, too, she considers a secret of ageless beauty: belonging. In Japan, elders are not pushed aside but honored, their presence woven into the fabric of community. Aiko knows that loneliness ages a person faster than years. But connection, sharing meals, joining festivals, teaching grandchildren, keeps the spirit alive, and a living spirit keeps the skin radiant. As she returns home, lantern light fading behind her, she reflects on her journey. She has never tried to hide her age. She wears it proudly, like the kimono her mother once gave her, woven with threads that tell a story. She believes that beauty is not in the absence of lines, but in the presence of life. Her mirror confirms this belief. The face that gazes back is not without wrinkles, but it carries a glow born of harmony. Harmony with nature, with tradition, with herself, and she knows that anyone, no matter where they live, can carry these secrets too. The tea, the food, the baths, the posture, the simplicity, the purpose, none require wealth, only intention. They are not exclusive to Japan, but gifts that the world can share. She hopes that when people see her walking through Kyoto, they do not only see her skin, but the story it carries. A story of mornings with tea, of evenings with family, of gardens and festivals and gratitude. A story of a life lived not against time, but with it. And in that story lies the timeless truth, that beauty after 60 is not about defying age, but about embracing it with grace. Part 4. The ageless pathwinter arrives gently in Kyoto. Snow falls like soft feathers, resting on the tiled rooftops and the bare branches of persimmon trees. The air is crisp, and the sound of footsteps crunching through the snow echoes in the quiet streets. Aiko loves this season most of all. The world slows, the nights lengthen, and there is a stillness that feels sacred. She rises earlier than usual, lighting a small lantern to brighten her room. She prepares her tea with steady hands, watching the steam rise from the bowl like a spirit ascending. The matcha's warmth spreads through her body, and she feels the same gratitude she has felt for decades, for another morning, another chance to walk this path. As she drinks, she reflects on the 6 secrets that have carried her this far. She thinks of them not as rules, but as companions on her journey. The first, the ritual of green tea, is her anchor. It is not only a drink, but a moment of presence, of calm. She believes that anyone, anywhere, can find beauty in such a ritual. Pausing, breathing, sipping slowly, letting the world slow down. The second, the traditional diet, is her foundation. Simple meals of fish, rice, vegetables, and fermented foods keep her body nourished and light. She knows that beauty cannot bloom on a weak foundation, and so she eats not for indulgence, but for harmony. The third, the bath, is her sanctuary. Whether in natural hot springs or her small wooden tub, the act of immersing in water renews her not just on the surface, but deep within. She knows that in water, the body remembers how to soften, and the heart remembers how to let go. The fourth, movement and posture, is her music. She flows through life with grace, walking, bending, tending her garden. She believes that how one moves is how one ages, and she chooses to move like the river, steady and unforced. The fifth, the simplicity of skincare, is her whisper to her body. I love you. No harsh chemicals. No endless products, only rice water, camellia oil, and a gentle hand. She believes that skin, like the soul, responds best to kindness, and the sixth, ikigai, is her light. It is the invisible flame that keeps her spirit warm, the reason she rises each day with joy. For her, it is family, nature, tradition, gratitude. For others, it may be something different. But without ikigai, without purpose, she knows the skin grows dull no matter what creams are used. As she reflects, she realizes these secrets are not truly secrets at all. They are simple truths, passed quietly through generations, often overlooked in the rush of modern life. She wonders why so many search for beauty in bottles and surgeries when it waits in tea bowls. Gardens, baths, and hearts. Later that day, Emmy returns from Tokyo. The young woman is tired from her studies, her skin pale from long nights in city air. Aiko greets her with open arms, guiding her inside to the warmth of the hearth. She prepares miso soup, setting the table with care. Obasan, Emmy says, sipping the broth. I wish I could be like you when I am your age. You look timeless, Aiko laughs gently. Timeless? No, my dear. I am full of time. Every wrinkle, every line, they are threads of my years. What you see is not the absence of age, but the presence of peace. She touches her granddaughter's hand. If you wish to carry beauty through the years, do not fight time. Walk with it. Drink your tea. Eat with balance. Bathe with reverence. Move with grace. Care for your skin with kindness. And above all, live with purpose. That is all you need. Emmy nods, her eyes shining, as if a door has opened inside her. She realizes her grandmother's glow is not a trick of the skin, but a reflection of her soul. That night, the two sit by the window watching snow fall. Aiko tells stories of her youth, of festivals, of love, of loss, of laughter. Each story carries wisdom. Each memory a gentle reminder that beauty is not measured in mirrors, but in moments. As the fire burns low, Aiko looks at her granddaughter and says softly, "Do not fear growing older. Fear only growing without joy. Beauty belongs to those who live fully, not to those who live forever." The words linger in the air, like snowflakes that do not melt. Years later, long after this winter has passed, Emmy will carry her grandmother's lessons forward. She will tell her own children and grandchildren about the 6 secrets, not as a formula for beauty, but as a way of life. And so the wisdom will live on, as timeless as the mountains, as gentle as falling snow. For now, Aiko closes her eyes, content. Her life is a tapestry woven with tea leaves, rice grains, garden soil, warm baths, simple oils, and a heart full of ikigai. Her skin glows softly in the lantern light. But it is her spirit that shines brightest. And in that glow lies the truth of Japanese beauty after 60. That age does not dim the light. It makes it warmer, richer, more radiant.